mid-13th century, across the vast Eurasian steppe, the Mongol Empire, forged by Genghis Khan, was expanding its reach. By 1258, their formidable forces turned towards the heart of the Islamic world, the Abbasid Caliphate, centered in what is now Iraq. This period marked a pivotal and devastating chapter in global history. Baghdad, the capital of the Abbasid Caliphate, was a beacon of learning and culture. For over 5 centuries, it had been a global intellectual hub, attracting scholars, scientists, and artists. Its libraries, observatories, and academies were unparalleled, housing countless works of philosophy, medicine, mathematics, and astronomy. The most famous among them, the House of Wisdom, was more than just a library. It was an academy, translation center, and research institute. Scholars from various cultures collaborated, translating Greek, Persian, and Indian texts into Arabic, preserving ancient knowledge that might otherwise have been lost to history. This vibrant intellectual tradition fostered an environment of relentless inquiry and innovation. Baghdad's scholars weren't merely custodians of inherited wisdom. They were active contributors, making groundbreaking discoveries that shaped the course of human civilization, from algebra to optics and medicine. However, to the east, a new power was rising, one driven by conquest and expansion. The Mongol Empire, under the leadership of Hulagu Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, embarked on a campaign that would alter the geopolitical landscape irrevocably. Their relentless advance spared few in their path. In 1257, Hulagu Khan issued an ultimatum to Caliph al-Mustasim, demanding his surrender and the dismantling of Baghdad's fortifications. The Caliph, perhaps underestimating the Mongol threat or clinging to an illusion of divine protection, refused to comply, believing his city impregnable. In January 1258, Hulagu Khan's forces, estimated to be around 150,000 strong, laid siege to Baghdad. The Mongols, renowned for their military prowess and sophisticated siege tactics, quickly overwhelmed the city's defenses. The Caliphate's army, diminished and unprepared, offered little effective resistance. The siege lasted just 12 days. On February 10, 1258, Baghdad surrendered. What followed was a week of unimaginable horror and destruction. The Mongols swept through the city, unleashing their fury upon its inhabitants, leaving a trail of devastation that would echo through centuries. The city was plundered, its treasures seized, and its people massacred. Estimates vary wildly, but some historians suggest that hundreds of thousands of Baghdad's citizens were killed. The once vibrant metropolis was reduced to rubble, its glory extinguished in a brutal display of power. But perhaps the most profound loss was the destruction of Baghdad's intellectual heritage. The Mongols systematically targeted libraries and scholarly institutions, viewing them as symbols of a defeated culture. Countless books and manuscripts were thrown into the Tigris River. Historical accounts describe the river running black with the ink from these invaluable texts. Others recount books being used to make causeways for Mongol cavalry. It wasn't just a physical destruction, it was a deliberate erasure of centuries of accumulated wisdom, research, and cultural memory. The loss was immeasurable. Works of science, medicine, philosophy, history, and literature, many irreplaceable originals, vanished forever. The destruction targeted not just Arabic texts, but translations from Greek, Persian, and Indian traditions, severing vital links to ancient thought and scientific progress. This act of cultural annihilation set back scientific and intellectual development in the Islamic world by centuries. It deprived future generations of a rich inheritance, creating gaps in historical records and scientific lineages that could never be fully repaired. the impact resonated far beyond the region. However, not all was lost. In other centers of the Islamic world, like Cairo, Damascus, and later Granada, scholarly traditions continued, albeit under immense pressure. Some precious texts, or copies thereof, had escaped Baghdad's fate, preserved by diligent scholars or foresightful patrons. Individuals and smaller communities played a crucial role in safeguarding what they could. Risking their lives, some scholars managed to smuggle manuscripts out of Baghdad before or during the siege. These acts of quiet heroism ensured that fragments of the vast intellectual treasure survived. Ironically, within a generation, some Mongol rulers, particularly the Ilkhans in Persia, began to adopt Islamic culture and become patrons of learning. Hulagu Khan's brother, Kublai Khan, established the famed Maragay Observatory, employing Persian astronomers like Nasir al-Din al-Tusi. This shift marked a complex turning point. While the initial destruction was catastrophic, some Mongol successors later sought to rebuild and even contribute to the very intellectual traditions they had nearly obliterated. They recognized the value of knowledge, even if their predecessors did not. Efforts were made to recover and transcribe lost works, and new scholarship began to emerge. Though the initial scale of loss could never be fully compensated, these later efforts ensured that some continuity was maintained and that the flame of Islamic scholarship was not entirely extinguished. Meanwhile, in Europe, translations of Arabic texts into Latin had been slowly introducing advanced scientific and philosophical concepts. Much of the Greek knowledge preserved by Islamic scholars was reintroduced to Europe during this time, laying groundwork for the Renaissance. The destruction of Baghdad's libraries meant that for some European scholars, access to critical Arabic commentaries and original translations became more difficult. It disrupted a crucial intellectual pipeline, forcing some to rely on fewer, less complete sources, potentially slowing some European intellectual advancements. The invention of the printing press in Europe, centuries later, offered a safeguard against such large-scale losses. The ability to rapidly reproduce texts meant that knowledge became more decentralized and thus more resilient to localized destruction, though digital archiving would truly revolutionize this. Today, our understanding of knowledge preservation has evolved dramatically. Digital archiving and global interconnectedness mean that the destruction of a single library, while tragic, is unlikely to erase vast swathes of human knowledge permanently. Redundancy is built into our systems. Yet, the story of Baghdad remains a powerful reminder of knowledge's fragility. It highlights how quickly centuries of intellectual work, cultural development, and human insight can be undone by acts of violence or negligence. The river of ink running black is a poignant image of this fragility. The sack of Baghdad was not merely a military conquest. It was a cultural catastrophe whose full repercussions are still difficult to quantify. It changed the trajectory of the Islamic world, forcing a re-evaluation of its priorities and its relationship with external powers. The image of the Tigris River running black with ink serves as a stark historical warning. It underscores the profound vulnerability of human knowledge to the whims of conflict and destruction, reminding us that preservation is an ongoing, vital act. The narrative of loss and partial recovery from Baghdad teaches us about the enduring human drive to learn and to rebuild. It speaks to the resilience of intellectual pursuit, even when faced with overwhelming odds. The spirit of inquiry can never be fully extinguished. Today, as we navigate an age of information abundance, the echoes of Baghdad's loss remind us of the preciousness of every piece of knowledge. It compels us to consider our own responsibility in curating, preserving, and making accessible the collective wisdom of humanity. The intellectual heritage of the Islamic Golden Age, though scarred, ultimately endured. Its fragments continue to inspire and inform, demonstrating that while books can be burned and rivers can run black, the fundamental pursuit of truth and understanding persists across generations. The memory of the Mongol deluge of knowledge in Baghdad serves not as a tale of ultimate defeat, but as a testament to the vulnerability and ultimate resilience of human intellectual achievement. It is a cautionary tale and a profound inspiration for preservation.